Hello, my name is Jessica Kane, and the person I chose to research was Richard Chase, and he was also known as the Vampire of Sacramento. So, a little bit of background about Richard. So, he lived in Santa Clara, California growing up, and he was known to have already shown strange behaviors even as a young child. He exhibited 3 traits in the McDonald triad: bedwetting, arson, and stealing animals. He was also known to use drugs as a young teen, which probably assisted in him becoming the person that he was. So after Chase started to go down the path of negativity, his father kicked him out of his house, and he then moved into an apartment with some of his friends, and they started noticing some weird behaviors from him, so they moved out. And then once they moved out, then he started stealing animals, killing them. And one time, he stole an animal and killed it, and then put it in a blender and mixed it with Coca-Cola and drank it. Okay, so life of crime, why? So Richard Chase was born into a very strict family, and his father was physically abusive to him when he was a young kid. And Richard ended up becoming mentally ill and got put onto medicine to try to help him with that. And he began to abuse alcohol and start fires, which could have also led to him choosing to kill people. So he could not feel sexual feelings unless he was using practices like necrophilia and animal murder. And he began to have delusions after his father kicked him out, and he began eating raw animals to cope with that. So committed crimes. So nicknamed the Vampire of Sacramento, Richard Chase drank the blood of his victims to help a delusion that he had that the Nazis were going to switch his blood out with powder. And Chase was on his rampages between the years 1978 and 1979. And Chase murdered 6 people in his time. And one of his murders was a person named Teresa Wallen. So Richard ambushed her, shot her in the head, and then carved her with a butcher's knife, and then ended up drinking her blood at the end of it all. So methods of capture. So after his final murder, he was a messy murderer and left a lot of evidence behind, and that's how the cops found him. He broke into a family's home and killed the family, and to finish it off, he stole the father's body, ate his brain, and then drank his blood and disposed of his body in a local church, and that's how the cops found him. So after the police found that, they searched his apartment and found the other bodies of his other victims. Justice. So due to his last murder, he was captured and sent to jail. And the police then found out about his earlier murders and believed that it would be safer for the people to send him to jail. And the police believed that this was only the beginning of his killing spree, and they needed to put him into jail for his actions. Punishment. After being sentenced to jail, Richard Chase was sentenced to death, and then death by gas chamber. And he was prescribed antidepressants when he was in jail, and he was stocking them up. And then before his death date, he ended up committing suicide and dying off of his pills that were prescribed to him. So my opinion of the circumstances. So I believe the police did a nice job of handling it. And they needed to get him out of this community for the people. And 2 theories that correspond with this are the rational choice theory and the trait theory. So the rational choice theory is about personal traits and situations that the person has been in. And then the trait theory is entirely about motivated inborn biological urges to survive. So these correspond with each other because Charles believed that he was being sabotaged by the Nazis and thought that they were going to switch his blood out with powder. So all in all, my thoughts on this whole thing. So what he did was really bad, really bad. And so I believe the police did a nice job, and I think he took the easy way out by committing suicide, but he's out of the community. So that's Richard Chase, the Vampire of Sacramento. Thank you.